How's it going? How's it going? I mean, Trump just got a big victory in Minnesota. And we're going to learn more about this. Now, Minnesota was another state where left wing groups were trying to block Trump from the ballot. I think this was the primary ballot. And it went up to the Minnesota Supreme Court, and Trump won. His name will be on at least the primary ballot, depending on if they're going to challenge in the during the general election. I don't know. But going to my trusted favorite news site, which is Ground.News, Minnesota Supreme Court blocks bid to remove Trump from primary ballot in 14th Amendment challenge. Minnesota Supreme Court dismissed a lawsuit seeking to bar former President Donald Trump from the 2024 primary ballot, citing that there's no state statute prohibiting a major political party from supporting an ineligible candidate. My understanding is that the judge didn't rule on the 14th Amendment merit, but my understanding is the lawsuit was because of that. This ruling only applies to the state's primary, leaving open for a possibility for the plaintiffs to try again to remove Trump from the general election ballot in November. Experts believe that this case could eventually reach the U.S. Supreme Court, which I'm pretty sure one of these cases will go to the Supreme Court. The lawsuit argued that Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which prevents those who engage in insurrection from holding office, should disqualify Trump from running. However, the courts did not use this provision to block his candidacy. And since I only wanted to report on Centered, I don't know anything about Newsday. Let's see what this says. By the Associated Press. Really? By the Associated Press. You gotta like it. See, here's Associated Press in here. Yeah. It's highly factual. Let's see here. Leans left. Highly factual. But it's the AP, man. I didn't realize that was an AP article, but either way, I'm going to read it from AP. Minnesota Supreme Court dismisses insurrection clause challenge and allows ballot on the primary. See, it's not that long of a story, so we'll continue. See here, Minneapolis AP, the Minnesota Supreme Court on Wednesday dismissed a lawsuit seeking to bar former President Donald Trump from the state's 2024 primary ballot under the Constitution provision that forbids those who engage in insurrection from holding office. The state's High Court declined to become the first state in history to use Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to prevent someone from running for the presidency. The court dodged the central question of the lawsuit: does Trump's role in January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol disqualify him from the presidency? By ruling that the state law allows parties whomever they want on the primary ballot. There's no state statute that prohibits a majority or a major party, political party, from placing on the president nomination primary ballot or sending delegates to the National Convention supporting a candidate who is ineligible to hold office. Chief Justice Nathan Hudson ruled. Two justices has recused themselves from the November 2nd hearing. The court left open the possibility that the plaintiff could try again to knock Trump off the general election ballot in November. Minnesota challenge was filed by the liberal group Free Speech for People, which did not immediately comment on the decision or say whether they will appeal. The ruling is the first to come in a series of lawsuits filed by liberal groups that are seeking to use Section 3 to end the candidacy of the frontrunner in the Republican presidential primary. His social media platform, Truth Social, Trump says, ridiculous 14th Amendment lawsuit just thrown out by Minnesota Supreme Court. He added, congratulations to who all fought this hoax. I mean, I know it's a hoax, but the issue with him calling it a hoax, he calls everything a hoax. The election results a hoax, COVID response a hoax, the news on whatever a hoax, unless it's there to appeal to him in a positive manner. I don't know if people are going to get over the fact that he calls anything that negatively affects him a hoax. I don't think people are going to be able to get over that this time. I mean, I don't know if he's actually going to be able to win. I mean, I hope he can win in the general election, but I don't think he's going to win. I don't think our next president's either going to be Biden or Trump. I have a feeling it's going to be a last minute Democrat that's going to win over the people. I just have that gut feeling. Now, I may be wrong in my prediction, but I guess we'll find out. Let's hear the provision at issue bars office from anyone who sworn an oath to the Constitution and then engaged in an insurrection against it. It was mainly used to prevent former Confederates from taking over the state and federal government positions after the Civil War. The plaintiffs in this case contend that Section 3 is simply another qualification for the presidency, just like the Constitution requirement that the president has to be at least 35 years old. They filed in Minnesota because the state has a quick process to challenge ballot qualifications, and with the case heard directly by the state's highest court. Trump's attorney argued that Section 3 has no power without Congress laying out the criteria and procedures for applying it, that the January 6th attack did not meet the definition of an insurrection, and that the former president was simply using his free speech rights. They argued that the clause does not apply to the office of the presidency, which is not mentioned in the text. Splitting hairs, to be honest. I mean, I understand the argument that we made. How can the leader of a country be responsible for an insurrection of the said country? I don't think that legal countermark holds any weight to the way that United States is structured, because he was, whether or not you believe he was legally voted out, but Congress voted to certify the elections that voted him out. Therefore, he was voted out. So therefore, his time as presidency was at there was an end date to it. And you could still have an insurrection to try to stay in power, have a coup, so you do stay in power. And I don't know if that's what his intent was, but that's how people are interpreting what happened on that day. Parallel cases are being heard in other states, including Colorado, where the state judge has scheduled closed arguments for next week. I thought the arguments were already done. Many legal experts expect the issue will eventually reach the Supreme Court, which has never ruled on Section 3. I mean, it's an interesting legal theory, don't get me wrong. I give props for people doing that, but where's the 25th Amendment lawsuit against Joe Biden? He's clearly not fit to be president of the United States. He is not mentally there. He is mentally declining right before our eyes. There is a stronger case to remove him from the ballot than there is Trump using the 25th Amendment against Joe Biden. And there's probably some out there that say the 25th Amendment could be used against Trump. People say that he's not in his state of mind. He's an older gentleman. He's not mentally there, depending on which news channel you watch and how they edit snippets of him speaking. But it's interesting. I mean, this. Now, keep in mind, I think the dismissing him off the ballot due to the insurrection clause, I don't think that's healthy for our republic here. I don't think that's healthy for our country. We have mechanisms in place to allow the people to vote whether or not his role in January 6th should prevent him from ever being president ever again. It is called elections. We have them every 4 years for the president, every 2 years for the House of Representatives, and every 6 years for the Senate. And each state has their set of elections as well. I think this should be up to the people's choice. If people vote for him to be the nomination, he should get the nomination, and he should be able to compete to be our next president, and let the voters decide whether or not his policies or his personality is what America needs. That being said, that is my video for today. Leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.